first round of talks will be the collaboration between Globe Africa and Globe for Service Temperature Monitoring, Globe MacroMappers, and Learning Through Trees, Leading Through Science, LAC's regional campaign. Then we will have a Q&A session, and then we will show the Air Quality Collaboration Group, Europe and Eurasia region, a nonprofit support for Globe educators and its impact, and comprehension and application of cultural diplomacy in field settings, and have the Q&A session.
Good morning and good afternoon. I am Shalini Mahadowa-Reechaye, the country coordinator for the GLOBE program in Mauritius. Here in Mauritius, the program has become a powerful tool to make science come alive for our students. Through the program, students can apply whatever they are learning in their textbooks to real life. They are actually measuring rainfall, monitoring mosquito habitats, analyzing growth of mangroves, and many more. This helped to strengthen their scientific thinking and build critical skills, including their public speaking skills when they are presenting their project to their school and community. GLOBE program encourages students to ask questions, explore, and connect their findings with global scientific efforts. Our students are excited to be contributing data to the NASA database and to complement data being collected by satellite. However, GLOBE is not just for science teachers and students. When learners write star stories, poems, or songs about the environment, or create visual arts to communicate their findings, language, music, and art departments are also roped in. Furthermore, the GLOBE program fosters collaboration, not only among schools in Mauritius, but with schools and scientists across the globe. In this context, students from one school, Prieto State College, had participated in a project with Globe Island on monitoring the surface temperature. I will now invite Dr. Long to give you more details as he had supervised this project.
Thank you, Madam Reechaye. Okay. So everything starts at Prieto State College, where I work. This college is located in the north of Mauritius. So why we decided to collaborate with Aileen? Climate change is affecting many countries around the world. So by collaborating with other countries, we have better data, and to make this, we can use the data to make science stronger, and also to have a real world impact on what we have found. Okay, so 10 students of grade 10 to 12 was on that project, work on that project. The aim was to measure the surface temperature of grass, bare soil, and asphalt from 3rd to 28th March 2025 using standard GLOBE protocol. Then the student analyzed their result, and then the result was presented in an international webinar, whereby more than 50 schools around the world participated and changed their idea on the topic. Afterwards, we did a short video to showcase the research in Mauritius. This is the protocol that we use, the methodology that we use, based on GLOBE's standard protocols. And also, this is the surfaces that where we take the reading. And during the webinar, we read the conclusion. We share the result, and we have a collaborative result being published. Okay, you can see asphalt at the highest temperature than bare soil and short grasses. We also did comparative studies. Okay, and the main findings are on the screen. So, by collaborating with other countries and other schools, okay, the students gain, okay, various skills. First one, they develop their cross-cultural communication skill, their collaborative problem-solving skill, the data analytical and data interpretation skills. and so on and so forth. And they can also gain the ability to use technologies while sharing the data. So GLOBE offer the opportunities to collaborate with other countries during research. Okay, this is very important. As a scientist, the student will gain comprehensive data set. They will have a consistent data. This will also promote cultural exchange with other countries and also to make science as real as possible. Okay, as a concluding note, therefore, collaborating with other countries not only develop certain skill, but it bring about new skill to have in the future in the student. It also enhance learning, collaborations and supportive community. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Welcome to MacroMappers, a worldwide globe macroinvertebrate collaborative project. I'm Peggy Foletta, and my partners are Lynne, Hehr, and Sara Mierzwiak. These globe teams researched their water site's history, conducted macroinvertebrate surveys at their water site, and shared their findings about their community, culture, and water sites. The blue markers are current MacroMapper project teams' locations. The red markers are globe schools that have collected macro data, but have not yet joined our project. We're hoping they will.
Teams are composed from grades 4 through 12, and they are from around the world, anywhere there is a hydrosphere study site. They're going to conduct and have conducted data from hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere twice a year, 6 months apart, if at all possible. That might be fall, spring, warm, cold, dry, wet, or anytime there's an abundance of macroinvertebrates. The teams choose a freshwater body site, whether it's a ditch, a lake, a pond, a stream, and then they are going to do both hydrosphere and biosphere protocols that help tell about macroinvertebrates and the chemistry conditions in the water. The teams are using the sampling protocols from both hydrosphere, so important, and hydrosphere.
So in addition to virtual meetings with our group members to coordinate this diverse group around the world, we decided to incorporate a couple different digital platforms, one of them being a Google My Map, where we pinned all of the locations of our members, a Padlet where we added prompts for them to answer questions about their sites, and a Google photo album where users could upload all kinds of photos with their activities. So I'll show you briefly. Here is our Google My Map. And like I said, this is interactive, so you can see here's a location here in Uruguay where they've uploaded some photos of their site and some information. Here is a member in Bhutan who also has some information uploaded. And here's our Padlet where you can see here is our interactive questions. And we ask them to tell us about their school, their water site, their data collecting experience, the quality of their water, and then also tell their cultural and historical water body story if they would like. So the users under these columns have already entered a lot of that data. And you can see that at the top here, Peggy has added climagraphs for each location, so we can quickly compare each other's average temperatures and precipitation, since we're all located in different places around the world. And then here is our shared photo album, where users have uploaded lots and lots of interesting photos and some up-close images of the macros that they've been collecting.
We've had some challenges, but we've had a very successful year, and we're looking forward to a good second year and hope some other people will join. These are some of the challenges we've had. The macroinvertebrates protocol is long, and navigating the Padlet and Google My Maps takes some technology instruction. The equipment and materials were a problem for some of the people to locate, but we got that straightened out. And the level of participant experience was widely different. The school schedules are probably the biggest issue as far as comparing to macroinvertebrate collection, because some schools were not in session when the macroinvertebrates needed to be collected. But we got through that. And we hope that some of you decide to join our project, and we look forward to whatever questions you have. Thank you.
I am presenting the Learning Through Trees, Leading Through Science, LACE's regional campaign. I am Andrea Ventoso from Uruguay, and also with Claudia, Caro, and Ana Prieto are the campaign leaders, and Mariana Savino, the regional officer, and Josefina González, the assistant, are the officers from the regional office who support us in this campaign and the initiative of this experience. This presentation highlights the main achievements of the campaign within these three core components of the program. These are the main three objectives we proposed ourselves for the 3 years of campaign. In the year one, the focus was on the common tree species in Latin American and the Caribbean countries, with their phenotypes and the variables related to their development. In the second year, the focus was in climate and carbon. And the third year, the focus was in three subtopics: surface temperature, mangroves, and mosquito habitats. Regarding scientific achievements of the campaign, the main one for us, it was the number of projects presented to International Science Symposium, where 57 projects have been presented since 2013 till now, and with a high quality, and most of them related to the campaign topics. Of course, to trees and land cover and carbon. And on the right, you can see some of the projects presented to the symposium. As scientific achievements, we also have the high number of data collected by teachers, students, and citizen scientists in protocols like surface temperature, air temperature, precipitation, trees, land cover, and of course, clouds. That is the most popular protocol in the campaign. More than 735,000 measurements were collected since the beginning till now, with 29,000 data from trees measured. On the right, you can see a graph with the totals of data and the totals of trees year by year. The protocols, as I mentioned, it was the protocols from biosphere and atmosphere, and also one from hydrosphere. This year, we included mosquitoes, as we mentioned. 7 intensive observations periods were implemented for teachers and students and citizen science, and one data challenge during the regional meeting. Another important scientific achievement was the compilation of a list of more than 20,000 tree species from Latin America and the Caribbean that was included in the website by the informatics technicians, and that made available the tree species for teachers to identify their own species in their countries. Another educational achievement was the trainings we have implemented through these years, and also the webinars that we do monthly, with a total of 27, where 19 presenters were invited to some of them, 8 from NASA and GLOBE, and 11 from the rest of the scientific community in LAC. Another educational achievement was the creation by the team of 17 new tutorials in Spanish, English, and Portuguese. And this year we have started working in 3 working subcommittees, one urban heat island, one for mangroves and one for mosquitoes. And they are working on the webinars, the workshops, and also learning activities that are being prepared. A great achievement was also at the level of community involvement, where the participation of teachers, students, and citizen science was very important. Also, we made some podcasts with the students and creative contests, drawing contests, and photography contests to make the campaign known in the region. And also the participation of students and teachers in the regional meetings was also very important to promote the projects and incentive them to present them to International Virtual Science Symposium. Thank you very much. We are now available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you to the 3 flash talks. I appreciate that. There are a few questions on Padlet already, so I don't know. I think people are responding there as well, but I put the Padlet again. There is the question about the collaboration between Globe Africa and Globe for surface temperature monitoring. The question is, aside from the scientific learning, how do you think students benefited from their involvement with research between the 2 countries? I don't know if someone can respond on that.
So the first thing was that they gained the scientific skill, the new scientific skill and the technology. Apart from the science, what they gained also were the ability to communicate, the communication skill. Okay, now? Also the cross-cultural activities, the cross-cultural gains between Mauritius, Africa, and Europe. Okay, they also benefited. Also, they become stronger, motivated. Okay, this will help because some aspect that they learn will help them to focus more on their scientific studies, and this also will allow them to go further study in this field, science fields. Okay, because in Mauritius sometimes we have the tendency to think that science is a bit difficult, but doing science, learning science by doing it. Okay, this makes it more interesting to the student. Okay, so they benefited a lot in this project, in this collaboration. Okay, they benefited first scientifically, they also benefit culturally, and also the self-esteem also. Being a scientist, a young scientist, this is very important for them to pursue their study in this field. Thank you. Oh, good. Any other questions?
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And then for the MacroMappers, there are quite a few questions, most of which I think have been answered in there if you would like to join. But there is a question, apart from the different school year schedules, what challenges did you have coordinating teachers? You mentioned a diversity of experience. Does this include internet/software inexperience? And did you include some kind of tutorial to bring educators up to speed? So if anybody from the MacroMappers team.
Some people have collected macroinvertebrates for years and years and years. And others have never collected before, and it's not the easiest protocol to learn. We have, trained a bit. We know that's an issue with our folks, and plan to do a little more training, and maybe even for the younger kids who may not be able to really complete the whole protocol. Like, yesterday we had a student team who I was asking, how they collected macroinvertebrates. Sometimes you just can't do it the way it's supposed to be done because of the conditions. And we would hate to see students not collect at all because they can't follow an exact protocol. So maybe do something like just do the richness, which means figure out what species are there. Also, maybe do pollution tolerance indexes, which are a little easier to do. We used to have an activity in Globe in the 90s, where basically it was an activity, not entering the data, and it was a little easier to do. And so we're exploring some other ideas to make it a little easier for some of the groups to not get discouraged, but to do something a little simpler, even if the data doesn't get entered in the archive, which is always a goal, but
that's not the only goal.
Yeah, this is Lynne. I just wanted to say that there's not a large requirement for equipment. And let me put my video on. And we have a list of equipment that's needed, but a lot of it you can make yourselves or just use alternative types of equipment. So it's actually pretty easy to do that.
The requirement of a 0.5 millimeter grid, I don't know who's using that. That's pretty tiny. I bought some and it's really tiny. So it's kind of difficult to completely follow the protocol. We might want to work on that. I want to talk to Becky Boger about that.
Peggy, can I jump in real quick? That was the one
Sure.
thing I was going to say is that we're hoping with this group that we can come up maybe with some recommendations for improvements to the protocol in the long term, because it is difficult to follow.
Thank you all. Okay, we're going to move along with the next set of flash talks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aileen Bright, and I'm the Globe Country Coordinator in Ireland.
Hi, I'm Dorresteijn from the Netherlands and Deputy Country Coordinator.
Hello, my name is Ramona Mercieca, and I am the Deputy Coordinator for Malta.
Thank you for inviting us to share our collaboration story on air quality today. We are a group of country coordinators in the Europe-Eurasia region who came together to work on air quality. We have a history in our respective countries on measuring aspects of air quality. We were largely motivated by the health impacts associated with air pollution. We originally formed a group back in Omiš in Croatia in 2022. And we wanted to get together, after all the experience that we'd gained over the years on air quality, we wanted to be able to share this experience by motivating and supporting other coordinators, educators, and citizen scientists to take part in our investigations. We also wanted to share some good practices to help facilitate collaborations between countries, and then also to coordinate an annual student conference. We'd all been working with scientists in our own countries, so we wanted to recognize these scientists and invite them into our group to provide further expertise. So what air quality parameters are being measured? Well, we look at particulate matter, both on stationary and mobile devices. We're looking at nitrogen dioxide gas using the fusion or Palmace tubes, and this is typically over a more focused 4-week period. And also we look at aerosols in the atmosphere using the Cala-2 photometer. We link these air quality measurements with Globe atmosphere protocol measurements, and we also collect other adjacent data, for instance, on traffic volume, and as this ties in most closely with nitrogen dioxide measurements. I will now pass you over to Dorien.
Yes, thanks, Aileen. A very important success story of this collaboration is the partnership with experts from different countries on air quality. These experts collaborate with the Globe country during the year. For instance, in the Netherlands, the scientists help develop learning materials and participate in teacher trainings. Also very important to highlight is that the experts use the data collected by the students. As an example, a Dutch scientist for the NO2 campaign from the Dutch Meteorological Institute, he compares the data of the ground level NO2 measured by the diffusion tubes of the students with the data of the Tropomi satellite. And he shares his analysis with the students, making them truly part of the research, which increases the impact for them. The experts also contribute at the annual student webinar we organized. So on the student webinar, we organized, supported by the regional office. This April, 8 student teams from 4 different countries presented their results on their local air quality about NO2, PM, and aerosols. The students live in Malta, Ireland, Slovakia, Ukraine, and were between 8 and 17 years old. The students share information about their school, their research question, their results, and their call to action. The webinar was also open for other interested parties. Students and coordinators from in total 12 countries were present to listen to presentations. 3 scientists shared background information and they gave feedback on the student presentations. The students had fun sharing information, receiving feedback, and learning about cultural differences. And now let's pass on to Ramona.
Thank you, Dorien. Through the air quality campaign, the students also collaborate with government entities and even local councils, where they use their data to bring about change. For instance, we can see students participating in panel discussions, collaborating with local councils to increase the number of trees in their locality, and also putting up signs next to their schools. Also, through the air quality campaign, countries come together and submit joint research reports for the IVSS. What are our future plans? We are already planning an air quality campaign for the new scholastic years, where we will be having 2 observation periods, one starting in September and the other one in November. Also, we are planning to have expert webinars and also student conferences, because these give the opportunity to students not only to share their findings and compare the data, but to propose solutions for cleaner air and healthier communities. For more information, we invite you to visit the pages on the Globe website and also to send us an email if you would like to participate in the air quality campaign. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to our presentation today. WILACES, a nonprofit support for Globe educators and its impact. My name is Sara Gabriel, and I am proud to be here today with the founder and president of WILACES, Dr. Dixon Butler.
Thank you, Sara.
So, Dixon, tell us a little bit about what WILACES does.
Well, WILACES is a nonprofit that gives grants to enable students to both measure and investigate their environment through doing student research projects. Over the last 10 years, we've given more than $750,000 in grants, and those have gone to over 250 recipients, and they've been located in 38 states and 40 countries.
Yeah, if we zoom out a little bit here, we can see the real impact of WILACES reaching those 40 different countries across 5 different continents. So Globe emphasizes studying the different spheres, and we're going to talk a little bit more about those today, starting with the atmosphere. Dixon, tell us a little bit about that.
So a grant to enable atmospheric measurements might include supplying a weather station, rain gauge, a thermometer, and a variety of other atmospheric measurement instruments. All of our international grants are endorsed by the Globe program, and they empower students to research their local environment. What's an example, Sara?
This is one of our grantees, the Nature Hub Collective Community Organization, located out in Kenya. These are some fantastic photos they shared with us using their weather station in the top right-hand corner. And their environmental club leader shared a fantastic quote with us that I would like to share with you all today. They said, "The weather station data has helped us understand rainfall patterns better. This information is valuable for our community's farming decisions." Next up, we'll take a closer look at the hydrosphere. Dixon, can you tell us some of the equipment that might be used to study the hydrosphere?
Well, in measuring water quality, you need measurements of temperature, turbidity, dissolved oxygen, and a variety of other parameters. These give students a measure of how suitable their water is for different uses in their community. And examining how these parameters change over time provides great opportunities for student research. What's an example here, Sara?
The hydrosphere takes us to Tanzania, where one of our grantees, the Vihana Life Organization, is studying water quality. So these are some fantastic photos they've shared with us on their research journey. Lastly, we'll take a look here at the pedosphere. Dixon, what does that mean?
It means investigating soil. Students can use a soil logger, digital hygrometers, soil thermometers, NPK probes, and soil pH meters. And Globe has protocols for taking scientific measurements that can be compared over space and time. So what's an example here, Sara?
Wonderful. One of our grantees, located out in the Philippines, is the Bardizan Hills National High School, and they are using different equipment to test the soil and really get a closer look at soil characterization of agricultural lands. So that's some awesome work that they're doing out there.
Great.
And lastly, Dixon, what is the impact of Y-laces?
Well, Globe's had a variety of impacts. We're showing two quotes from teachers, but I'll just read the second one. Using their hands and being able to get dirty goes well beyond what any textbook can provide. And then from a student engaged in this, before this project, I had never worked with scientific tools like pH meters or air quality monitors. Now I feel confident in my ability to use them and apply this knowledge in my studies and community. So to learn more, there's our address, www.ylaces.org. And at Y-Laces, we like to say, do science, learn science. Thank you, Sara. Thank you all.
Hello, I am Marie-Licensalo, and I am pleased to share reflections from a cultural diplomacy perspective on the field expeditions I co-led with my PhD advisor, Dr. Nathan Stansel, from 2019 to 2023 under his NSF grant. Thank you for the opportunity to highlight this unique experience where Globe training was central. Before diving into the IRIS project, which stands for the International Research Experiences for Students, and our use of Globe protocols, I want to briefly highlight why cultural diplomacy matters in environmental research. It's not some sort of a side issue. I'd say cultural diplomacy is foundational. When U.S. students conduct fieldwork abroad, cultural fluency enhances both scientific effectiveness and community trust, especially when working in culturally or historically sensitive areas like those we accessed under Globe protocols. So awareness actually becomes the key to ethical engagement. And here's a photo from a field day where we measured tree circumferences. But before starting with our measurements, we were briefed on how to move respectfully through the landscape as locals actually use the area for berry picking. So each year of the Estonian IRIS project, it included orientation, 5 weeks of summer fieldwork in Estonia, lab work during the academic year in the US, and a spring conference presentation on the following year. At least 4 students were recruited annually, except for during the pandemic. And one of our recent peer-reviewed papers benefited directly from Globe data collected in 2023, which will be the focus of this presentation. My role on top of field coordination centered on cultural translation. So as an Estonian familiar with both local norms and US culture, I kind of helped bridge the gap, ensuring participants understood local cultural differences from theirs and approached the fieldwork with respect. Briefly, a map to show where some of our fieldwork locations were in Estonia. So, what kind of measurements were conducted over those several weeks in the field? I had listed on one of the previous slides, for example, water quality tests, including ion concentration, as well as pH, alkalinity, and so on, which then were uploaded to the Globe database. We also prioritized taking as many measurements in the same spot as possible. Here you can see, though, that not all weather conditions were favorable, so it was not always possible to conduct experiments at one specific site. So the photo on the right was taken in pouring rain. So in that case, I believe we took soil temperature measurements. Most of our measurements took place in uninhabited areas, but at times we worked on private land, which meant getting permission from landowners. They were generally welcoming and curious, interested in the purpose of our research, also the universities involved and how they could access the results. These conversations often raised awareness and sparked genuine interest. Many also asked about the students and even recommended local events we could attend during our free time. Reflecting on the experience, it's clear that cultural context is crucial. Translation alone can miss key nuances. The IRIS program showed us that field-based engagement multiplies collaboration. It grounds science in real-world contexts and strengthens the long-term networks. So this aligns with GLOBE's mission, turning data into dialogue and knowledge into action. It also enhances the database with higher resolution samples and equips the students to serve basically as GLOBE ambassadors, trained in protocols and inspired by the value of global data sharing. Here's a photo of one of the weather stations we installed, and that's still being run by a school in southern Estonia. And I'd like to end with a thought that diplomacy in the field is not an accessory to science. It's how science gains a foothold in the real world. Anyway, thanks for joining today, and thanks to all the supporters of our field seasons.
Well, thank you. Appreciate all of the comments and questions. And I think there are some additional questions here in the Padlet for our presenters. So for the air quality team, one question is, I love to hear that you had scientists involved in using the student data. As you continue this campaign, will you work with the same scientists?
I think it worked really good with the scientists now, because it are scientists who know the work of GLOBE and they're doing a really good job. But we're always open to collaborate with other scientists from other countries. So if you want to cooperate, then please, tell us.
Okay, thank you. And there is also another question from Brendan, which is around whether schools that were planting trees received funding from local governments. And Ramona did respond that it was funded by the local council. I don't know if that was in for her. Are there,
Yes,
Aileen, did you
yes.
have something else to mention? Oh, go ahead, Ramona.
Okay, yes, and this is what we try to do with GLOBE. It's not just involving students and teachers, but going wider in the community, involving the local councils and the local government. And yes, the trees that the students planted, not only on the school ground, but also in their localities, these were all funded either by the local council of their locality or else the local government.
And just to add a quick comment on that, I think, we've developed relationships with scientists and potential funders over many years. And I think one strength of GLOBE is I think people really build trust with us over the years. And, just this year alone in Ireland, we were able to use poster designs for anti-idling campaigns that were based on GLOBE students, their work in the school, and we were able to get funding to turn them into actual signs that they could place outdoors. But it's through that kind of, like we're saying, that trust that builds up over years, and they see the impact of GLOBE. And so I would recommend, trying to reach out to those local authorities and people that have small grants, because it can really help here to make the students' ambitions come to life.
That's a great point. I was having a conversation. We're trying to re-engage Australia, and the Citizen Science Association was saying, oh, our government has lots of these small grants for different components, and if we can tie to it, and their idea was doing citizen science corners in libraries in Australia. And they said there's lots of funding available for science in libraries, or STEM in libraries. So wanted to mention that as another possibility that others may also pursue of that. And there were also, I have not looked into this specifically yet, but we were having a conversation during the informal information sessions that I held, and somebody was mentioning, I think it was Yogendra, that the Rotary Club International also provides lots of small grants within countries. So we are reaching out to them more broadly, but I certainly advocate for those of you who are in countries where Rotary has a strong presence to see if that's an opportunity for funding.
And GLOBE received a grant from Rotary many years ago.
Yes. comes around, right? I just want to make sure there aren't any other questions. I think there's lots of comments on, of course, why Lacey's and the incredible work that you, Dixon, have led there, and appreciate deep appreciation for all of your support over the many years.